What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. And in this video I'm going to be giving you guys a review of the banner which is coming out tomorrow. It's a Mythic Hero banner featuring Duma as the new Mythic Hero. And this is really interesting because they did say explicitly that Mythic Heroes are reserved for the godlike characters like Duma probably. So it's really interesting that we got Duma as a Mythic Hero. He's a colorless dragon, and that makes him the second colorless dragon after female Grima and the first colorless armored dragon. So he's a anima mythic hero, so he's going to be reducing the lift loss in the anima seasons if you have him with a anima blessed unit in your defense team in those seasons. So you can reduce the lift you lose in like the defense battles, and he gives you the attack boost, which is really nice. Of course, because he's the god of strength, of course he's going to give that. So he has got Fell Breath, and this is a 16 might weapon. It gives you +3 attack, and at start of combat, if the foe is just not at full HP, then he's going to be getting +6 attack and +6 resistance during the combat, and the foe cannot make a follow-up attack. Unless they've got something like Quick Riposte or Vengeful Fighter and Duma is attacking them and they've got more speed than him and they just bypass the speed check, then they could still double him. But this is really nice weapon. It's like an Omni Breaker pretty much, and it requires your opponent to be not at full HP, which is not really the hardest thing to achieve because we have got Pain plus healers, we have got a Savage Blue Sacred Seal, stuff like that, and we also have his Slotsy skill which is going to do the job. He has got Draconic Aura. He's going to be having a lot of attack most likely, so makes sense. And he has got Defense Rest Solo. Now this is a really awkward skill. I'm not really too sure how to feel about this because it's really weird on armor units like these solo skills. Duma himself doesn't want to use Armor March because of his Slotsy skill. It's so good and synergizes with his weapon. So you probably want to have some other armor unit with Armor March, or I guess have some kind of support that can give him the Defense Rest Solo buff and also help him move. Solo skills on armor units is definitely pretty awkward, but the thing is that in players' hands you could probably figure something out and position him correctly to get this boost, but in the hands of AI on the defense teams, so you don't really know what AI is going to be doing with him. He could just stay behind the other units and never get this buff. So that's the thing. He's got Bullfighter, the most busted armor skill. This is really powerful because of his weapon, as enemy cannot make a follow-up attack and he can double them with Bullfighter. So speed is just irrelevant pretty much for Duma for the most part, and for a lot of armor units. It is only really important in terms of speed checks. For example, if you've got any kind of unit with Quick Riposte who has got 5 higher speed than Duma, they will still be able to double him back. So that's the only area where a speed of an armor unit can matter. And he has got Upheaval as a Slotsy skill. This is going to be an exclusive skill. And this is the skill which he had as a boss. And this took like a turn to charge up from what I can remember. It was a really annoying skill actually. But in Heroes, it deals 7 damage to all foes at start of first turn. So everyone just takes 7 damage, and this can break up skills like Armored Boots. It can break up stuff like Attack Speed Push, and I actually made a Reddit post about this with his interaction with Alm and Celica. So against Alm and Brave Celica, he actually breaks both of their weapons. So Alm's Double Lion Refine works on 100% HP, and Duma just breaks this. But the thing is that Alm still has the Renewal built into Falchion, so you could just recover that HP and still crush this bastard. And Brave Celica, on the other hand, has got Double Lion as her Slot B skill. And I feel really bad for Brave Celica because she gets shafted in these really weird ways. So Brave Celica's Double Lion is broken, and unless they release Renewal Seal, or if you've got Herons or Air or Healers, you're not going to be able to recover that HP, and it just breaks Celica's Double Lion. In case of normal Ragnarok Celica, it doesn't really push her into the Brazen range, but if you've got a minus HP IV Celica who's unmerged, so Duma instantly puts Celica into the Brazen range, and if you're running a triple Brazen skill set, you can hit really hard. Now she's not going to be able to double him, but still, she's going to be having a lot of attack. And in case of Fallen Celica, it just breaks her beloved Zofia. I mean, Fallen Celica is also one of those units who gets shafted a lot, so it just breaks her weapon. And in case of Seal Falchion, it can actually activate that, but they will not be able to double him. because of his weapon's effect. So that's the thing. So it's really interesting how his weapon interacts with Alma and Celica, the protagonists who are destined to beat him. And this skill also means that you do not want to use units like Tibarn, who need the opponent to be at full HP for his weapon to activate. So Upheaval is not really the best with those kinds of teammates. And the other effect of this is that if defending in Ether raids during the anima seasons, he destroys the offensive structure within the same column as him. So this can be really useful because you could cover up the weakness of your range units with Duma. So for example, you could have someone like Ophelia maybe in Spring Breeze, which a lot of people like to do. A lot of people do like to have their tactics rooms on the extreme right side, or at least like one space away from the extreme right side, so that they could pretty much get the tactics room gravity effect on units in Spring Breeze, because Spring Breeze is a really popular map that a lot of defense teams use, and you could just restrict the movement of those annoying range units on that map. So you could actually use Duma to cover up that weakness of your units in Spring Breeze, and just have Duma on the same column as them. I mean, you could do that with Catapult, but still, Duma is just much better. So that's something you could do if you get what I mean. So you can break those structures, and the only thing you cannot destroy is the fort. So this skill deals 7 damage, and if you've noticed, all kinds of passive damage stack up because they are non-lethal. And if you run multiple Fallen Takumis, their damage is going to be stacking up. So you know damn well that some guy's going to wail for Duma and have like 6+10 Duma in his Ether Raids defense team, all spreaded horizontally so that he can destroy every single structure you've got except for your fort, and they're going to be dealing 42 damage to all of your units at start of turn 1. So yeah, that's going to be annoying if it ever happens. It actually takes a lot of orbs to get like +10 of these legendary heroes on like these kinds of 12 unit banner. It takes like 1500 to 2000 orbs on average, depending on how lucky you get. And if that person wants to build up like 6+10 Dumas, then he will need to pull 66 Dumas. And if one like +10 Duma can take up to 1500 or 2000 orbs, then you roughly need like 10,000 orbs to have like 6+10 Dumas, which is roughly around give and take $5,000, I think. Yeah, that's expensive. I did the math, and if you see any kind of player with 6+ Dumas, you know now. Yeah, so it's gonna be insane if anyone does that. I actually saw a Reddit thread a few minutes back that said that only 2 Dark or Anima mythic heroes are allowed in your defense team. I'm not really sure about the source of that post because I tried to look at myself in the game and I couldn't really find it. The only thing we know is that we're going to be having a limited amount of lift loss reduction if you have these kinds of heroes and blessed heroes on your defense team. So we just have to wait and see how it works out with Duma. If it does, then it's going to be really, really insane. But to be honest, I would love to face like 6+ Dumas because I could just have my Pain Plus Healer just chip away their health because they're not going to be running Armor March, obviously. Even if they run Distant Counter, it means nothing in face of Dazzling Staff. So I could just chip away all of their health and just pick them off with someone like Micaiah or any kind of Falchion user. Doesn't really matter. So that's much better than facing like these Ophelia, Reinhardt, and Brave Veronicas and all of these flyers in Ether Raids. So yeah, if 6 Dumas are possible, then it's just going to be for flexing most likely. You're probably not going to be getting a lot of defense wins because anyone could just counter team you with like a Pain Plus Healer and some kind of effective damage, and then your Duma team is done for. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. Eira is really popular in Ether Raids, of course, because she's a free unit and she can actually counteract the Upheaval damage with her Sparkling Boost, so that's amazing. Also, Leon and Rayson can also do that with their AoE healing, so that's something to consider. He's going to be triggering his Draconic Aura right here and nuke this poor green mana Heat. He's going to be doing 53 damage, so he got 19 points of additional damage out of his Draconic Aura. And we could clearly see that this green Manakite was hurt before he just nuked her, likely from his Upheaval damage. So that means he has got +6 attack from his weapon, and he already has a 19 might weapon essentially. So if you consider all of that, then he must have at least 64 to 66 attack during this combat, which means that he probably has around 41 attack on the higher side, of course. Because if he has got anything less than 64 attack, then he's not going to be getting 19 points of additional damage out of his Draconic Aura. He would get 18 points of additional damage. And if he has got more than 64 attack, then he would get like 20 points of damage. So that's what I'm thinking, that he must have base attack somewhere around that. Like 41 base attack is a pretty good one because we already have Christmas Ephraim with that. So yeah, Christmas Ephraim is pretty much a god like Duma, if you didn't already know. So this is the stat spread I'm expecting on him. We could see that he has got 48 HP, and I think he's going to be having that much base attack, as I explained before. Probably going to be min-maxed really hard, and he's likely going to be having 180 BST, which I'm fine with. I mean, 180 BST is already in the game, so if they're going to be giving 180 BSTs to like any unit, it should be these kinds of main bosses and like gods. Makes more sense, and they shouldn't really give like 180 BST to some bikini armor, Camilla, that is. So yeah, 180 BST makes sense for him, and he'll have a lot of defense, a lot of resistance, just min-max, kind of like Surtur, to be honest. Few stat points here and there. So yeah, that's gonna be Duma, our second mythic hero, colorless unit, which is really good because we're not gonna be seeing female Grima for the 10th million time. And now we have got some of the units on the banner, and I'm gonna be discussing them. So we have got Legendary Ike as the first unit, and he's a free unit, so pretty much everyone has got him, and he is a pretty solid unit, has got good attack and solid bulk. The only problem is that he doesn't have very high resistance and not a very high speed, so he can get double, but because of his warding breath and ether, if you've got something like Crooked Post, you could easily heal up that HP. So he's a pretty good unit, and he has of course got the warding breath, which is extremely coveted skill, so he gets 5 out of 5 on the fodder rating. And we've got our next unit, Legendary Linde. A lot of people do consider Legendary Linde to be the worst legendary hero. Even I do, actually, even though I like Linde a lot. But yeah, she's really mediocre. I mean, I've got pretty much the perfect IV spread with Linde, and I used Linde Emblem a lot. She's definitely really underwhelming. The problem lies with her stat spread. It's just a really confused stat spread and base kit. So she doesn't really have the highest attack, and Swift Mulakir is present in the player phase, and Laws of Sakes is a really weird skill which is active in the enemy phase, which doesn't really make sense because she doesn't really have the stat spread to be a mixed phase archer, and you're more than welcome to disobey the Laws of Sake and have something like Sparrow on her and just completely make her player phase. She even has trouble taking out like moderately bulky blue units. So Linde is pretty much one of the worst, if not the worst legendary hero in the game, which is definitely sad. And she's got speed tactic, which is really valuable skill, and that's the only tactic skill that's not easily available. Defense rest tactic or sacred seals attack tactic is present on Legault at 4-star, and speed tactic is definitely a coveted skill. So she definitely has a lot of value as a fodder because of that one skill. And then we've got Summer Linde. She's a mounted dagger unit, which means that she can easily get the horse emblem buffs and be really powerful, which makes it so that you could run her default Starfish Plus, of course, to a really great effect because she's going to be really fast after that buff. And you could also run effective daggers like Splashy Bucket or Sky Myogi or Cloud Myogi because she has got pretty good offenses for a dagger unit, and she doesn't really have much to offer other than her weapon and Brazen Attack Res. Brazen Attack Res can be comboed up with its Sacred Seal, which is definitely nice. And Starfish Plus is a good weapon for a lot of the fast dagger units. You could just free up their Slot B skill and run like a Chill skill or something like that. And two of the most recent dagger units in Hostile Springs, Camilla and Hinoka, actually make great use of Starfish Plus because of their speed stat. And Hinoka especially because she gets to keep her attack speed link while having Desperation built into her weapon. So yeah, that's Linde. And then we have got Festival and Hoshido Ryoma. He's a pretty alright unit. Of course, he's got dance, so that's really valuable. But with his stat spread, he's decent. I mean, he doesn't really hit very hard, but can get the job done. I just use him as a Arena Assault unit for checking red armor units with the Sky Myogi. So that dagger is definitely really helpful in Arena Assault, and makes him a pretty good fodder unit because of that, and also for Chill Defense. You could actually just inherit Chill Defense 1 and 2 from 4-star Walhart, and then inherit Chill Defense 3 and Sky Myogi with him. And being a dancer, he automatically brings a lot of utility to your team, and more dancers are always really nice for stuff like Blessed Gardens, Arena Assault, and also for Ether Raids if you like to have multiple dancers on your defense team. Because that's a really common thing. And then we have got Elincia. She is actually really underwhelming. The only thing she has got for herself is her speed, and that's pretty much it. She doesn't have attack, she doesn't have bulk, she has absolutely nothing other than speed. So she's a really underwhelming Dragon Slayer with that Cloud Myogi, unfortunately. And as a fodder, She does bring that dagger, but Splashy Bucket Plus pretty much outclasses it. Splashy Bucket Plus can also nullify Wrathful Staff and also nullify the adaptive damage of dragons. And attack speed push is not really all that nice. It's a really situational skill. I guess you could use that with Mystic Boost if you want to, but still it's not really all that great. So Elincia is definitely not the best green unit from this green pool, but she's a dancer at the end of the day, and as I said, more dancers are always really nice. And then we have got Brave Ephraim. Brave Ephraim is such a powerful armor unit, 10 out of 10 of course. We have a lot of really good green armor units, but Brave Ephraim is definitely one of the top ones because of Garm, and he's got Special Fighter, which goes really well with that weapon. Garm's condition is actually pretty easy to achieve, and he already comes with Armor March. As for Fodder, he's got Special Fighter, which has got Guard effect built into it, and some armor units can make good use of it, like Legendary Tiki. And if you do not want to use him for that, he also has Close Defense, which is present on Joshua actually, but he also has Armor March. So it's really amazing combat wise and also for fodder. Amazing green unit from this pool. And then we've got Laegjarn. Laegjarn is a really nice tanky flyer who's really fast, and she also has her weapon which can be nice against buffed units. But the thing is that it's a really situational weapon because you cannot really control the stats of the enemy. But still, it's a solid weapon, and it does give her +3 speed. She comes with R-Dual Flying, which is amazing because you could build up someone like Pala or Shida for your arena core and just give them that skill. And Shida is absolutely amazing for weakening those Surters with her Wing Sword. You could just have something like Wind Sweep and Water Sweep on Shida so that she cannot really take out armor units and can just soften them up for your bonus units. So that can be done with R-Dual Flying. And of course, the premier user of this is Aversa. So if you're trying to plus and merge Aversa, this is pretty much her best slotted skill. It gives her +5 HP, which is amazing with her weapon, and can also make her into a 170 BST unit in arena pretty much. And the other skill which she has got, if you're not interested into R-Dual Flying, is Distant Guard, which is also a rare skill. Only Legendary Lucina has that, so it can be nice for mixed teams. The next unit we have got is Legendary Tiki. She has got Fierce Breath, Bold Fighter, absolutely amazing as a fodder, and as a unit also she's really powerful. She's got a really nice and balanced stat spread, and she's the original 180 BST dragon. And the only drawback I would say is that she doesn't really hit as hard as some of the other armored dragons like Mer or Grima. So that's one of her drawbacks, but still she's a really powerful unit of course. Cannot really go wrong with a 180 BST unit. The next one is Loki. Loki's absolutely amazing in ether raids because she's pretty much a walking tactics room, and range units are super annoying in that mode, and there isn't really any kind of range unit who will have more HP than her other than like Aversa maybe. So she can easily have her staff and just restrict the movement of those range units, which can be so helpful because you could just have tactic rooms in one column and then have Loki. And as for fodder, she has got Colorless Infantry Duel, which is nice on units like Soth, Felicia. You could have the Merge Project on them and make them arena cheerleaders, which is nice because they can provide those debuffs. And you can also fodder off for that special that she has got, Earth Water Bomb. It's a 300 SP skill, and if you're trying to build up a healer for arena, then you could use that skill. But the problem is that she already has Colorless Infantry Duel, so that's the more coveted skill which she has got. And then we have got Kliff. He's a pretty fun unit. He's not really meta influential or really powerful. He can be just fun with his weapon because of how different functions, and he can be really bulky with his slotty skill, and also he's really fast. So overall a decent blue mage, but in the face of Ishtar, Tail 2, Reinhardt and stuff like that, he doesn't really have that kind of power, but as I said, he's really fun. And Fortress Defense Res is a skill which you could fodder him off for. It's a 300 SP skill, which is nice on your arena cheerleaders. And this is especially very nice on your cheerleaders because you want to just stall out the enemy and not really take them out. And the -2 attack isn't really all that big of a problem, and the bulk can be really nice. And then finally we have got Legendary Eirika as the final unit. Legendary Eirika is an absolutely busted unit with that Lunar Brace. It gives her true damage, and she can hit really hard. She's super fast, so she's pretty much the best Red Cavalier in the game. Her Lunar Brace with Luna is just absurd. She will completely negate enemies' defense and just cut through them. Even if they're blue unit, triangle advantage, disadvantage doesn't really matter to Eirika. But it is going to be having 4 cooldown because of Lunar Brace's penalty. So yeah, Eirika is absolutely amazing. Overall, this is a really solid banner. Has got Legendary Ike and Legendary Eirika as the stars of red pool. Brave Ephraim is the best unit from the green pool. Legendary Tiki is the best one from the blue pool. And the Colorless is absolutely amazing this time around. Has got Duma, Loki, who's amazing in Ether raids, and also Summer Linde, who's a pretty good unit. And it also has 2 dual skills in Colorless Infantry Duel and also Red Flying Duel, and has got 2 dancers. This banner also has pretty nice fodder potential with 2 breath skills, has got attack speed solo, has got 2 dual skills, has got a 300 SP skill and Photo's defense res, and also has special fighters. So pretty amazing legendary banner. It's definitely worth spending your orbs on, but just be careful because the Valentine banner is going to be coming next month. So if that's something you really care about, then I guess you could save your orbs, but in general, like, this banner is really nice. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this banner review. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then please be sure to leave a like and share this video with your friends who are thinking of summoning on this banner, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.